Good morning. This is White Raptor News Ministries. I kind of feel like taking the ministry part away. I don't want to be a minister. I just want to share and teach. Share information. Because strictly I'm going against anything that has been taught in this plane of existence. I don't know if any of you have seen this video that's being pushed around on the internet. And this is a pastor. And he does beat this guy pretty good. Now, it's said that this guy here threatened to rape and kill his wife. I'm not going to play the video because, I don't promote violence. But as I read through the comment section here, this is mostly my comment. A pastor, huh? I'm telling you, that man beat his ass because the other man said he was going to rape and kill his wife. He should have called the police and had him arrested. I've told you Christians are insane. One stupid ass saying something he shouldn't have said, and another person who is a minister handing him his ass. Where is all the love? I'll tell you, it's in that false religion that Jesus worshipers follow. Okay? It's that simple. So, in the comments, I read through them. I'm reading through all these comments and stuff. I placed to myself. And then you can clearly see that Christians in these comment sections, they just love this stuff. It's like, oh, a UFC fight, let's check it out. Let's promote some more violence from a minister to boot, a Christian minister. How wonderful is that? Huh? Someone saying they're going to hurt someone, that's a threat. It was a threat if he said it, absolutely. So you call the police, right? Hey, do you guys remember this video when it came out? This channel here is a channel I've been listening to for about, since he started his channel. I've watched him grow, and his information is some of the most awesome information on the face of the earth. Even though I don't subscribe to all of it, what he teaches, but a lot of what he says is good.
And then God can make me take your land from you. God can make me conquer your nation. God can make me invade your territory. God can make me enslave your people. And throughout history, people have claimed exactly that. Kings ruled by divine right. Empires claimed divine authority. Conquerors claimed God had chosen them. Settlers claimed God promised them the land or the territory. Manifest destiny itself was justified through the belief that expansion and conquest was divinely ordained. The responsibility was transferred upward. It wasn't me, it was God's will. Take it up with the guy upstairs. And this brings us right back to the difference between these two systems. One system is built upon law, the other is built upon exemption through blood sacrifice. One system is built upon sovereignty, the other is built upon mediation and servitude. One system teaches that every human being must govern himself. The other teaches that responsibility can be transferred elsewhere. When we use words like barbarian, pirate, buccaneer, conqueror, all of these kind of words are synonymous with the word outlaw. The conquistadors, all of the conquerors, basically all of the people that was going around invading on conquest, they were operating outside of the universal laws. They were outlaws, meaning they didn't have a spiritual system, which goes back to my first question. How can they?
Also, they didn't have a spiritual system. They didn't have a book either. Okay, you starting to feel me? All right, that book was written from a different race of people. This race here that he's talking about is the fallen angels. Okay, they're the ones that made a pact against humanity. These people here are the ones that taught us war. They taught us fighting. They taught us how to tear up the ground and pull out all the resources from the ground. They taught us iron. We went through all these ages and stuff. That's what they are. And the movies in Hollywood are telling you. They tell you in the movies where it says, hey, look, the gods taught us how to forge from iron, and the gods taught us how to use the magic arts of makeup and the magic arts of this. Well, where do you think it's all coming from? The television. All you see on television anymore is these charms. You go on TikTok tonight, and I guarantee you, when you start going through it, it's a shitload of mediums. They're just, it's mind-blowing to me. And people don't see this.
Can they give us a spiritual system if they didn't have one? How can they give us a moral system if they didn't have one? We gave them a moral system, and it was too hard for them to follow, so they revised it. And everybody...
See, no, they did revise it, but it wasn't for that reason. It was written in the Bible why it was revised, because the book that was written for the Israelites went into the cities of the Samaritans when they were told to stay out of the cities of the Samaritans. Jesus, or Yeshua, told them himself. He told you right here. Do not give what is holy to the pigs. Do not throw your pearls before swine. If you do, they'll trample them under their feet and then turn and tear you to pieces. So Brother Sanchez here is giving you the reason why the outlaws exist, because this is the bloodline of Japheth, all right? We're told that 3 clans get on, or 3 family get on the ark. Well, Noah and his wife and his 3 sons. So, and the others, they had their wives. Well, there's 8 people on the ark, right? So here, they should all be worshiping one God. This is who's in control right now. This here would be Jacob, but it's not Jacob. This ain't Jacob. This is Esau right here, ruling the world, and has been ruling the world since the beginning. The world has been turned over to these people. This is why it's eternal war.
Everybody is under the revised version today, and you're being led astray. You're practicing paganism. These are people that have always looked for ways to get around the law, because the law was hard for them. It wasn't hard for us because we was just minding our business, doing unto others as we would have them do unto you.
So I don't also agree with that there's certain factors here that are going on. You got to understand that the outlaws were on the earth before the second creation. It wasn't until the second creation came upon the earth that the wars between the Gentile and the human really began. You got to understand that humans and Gentile, or mankind and man, are not the same. Mankind, they put the word kind on the end of man because mankind is kind of a man. They're not human. Okay? And when you look at the word human, it is spelt with an E, H-U-E-M-A-N, and hue means dark, folks. So, in other words, God's chosen, Israel's chosen, Yahweh is the God of Israel. Okay? And he's the one that the Israelite is supposed to fall. But if this world was turned over to the hands of the wicked, and Israel has been slaying and killing and everything just as well, when the Bible's telling us you're not to kill, okay, you're not to invade in other countries, you're not to abhor your brother Gentile, for you were a foreigner in his land, or they were a foreigner in your land. We're not supposed to be slaughtering people, but that's what this country does. It's all built off the backbone of lies.
If your entire culture is based upon going around the world on conquest, killing, stealing, and destroying, where's your moral system? This kind of mentality and behavior is due to a lack of a moral system. So it's kind of crazy to think that pirates and buccaneers are gonna teach us how to be good people when we was minding our business. We ain't the ones that was killing, stealing all around the world. If God can make me...
So, yeah, you see how that works? So, back to my original thing, man, is... So, we, here... What nation was it that landed on Plymouth Rock? The Pilgrims. An English group seeking religious freedom. Were the nation associated with the famous 1620 landing of the Plymouth Rock. Aboard the Mayflower, this English settler arrived on the shores of present-day Massachusetts, where the rock has become a famous historical symbol. Okay, so the Pilgrims. So when the Pilgrims landed at Plymouth Rock, the Pilgrim Age began. Yes. Definition of pilgrim: person who journeys to a sacred or religious place as an act of devotion. It broadly refers to travel, wayfarer, or wanderer. Okay? So the English came across the ocean.
White man came across the sea. He brought us pain, misery. Across the sea, he brought us pain, misery.
So I've been telling you as well that they're telling you the truth inside the music. And people go to these concerts because this is darkness, okay? You got to understand that. These people that are rock and roll stars and shit, they're not their own. There's an entity that possesses them, okay? I tell you that the brain is an antenna, and we get downloads and uploads. You either get it from your higher mind, your own conscience, that which is connected to the high mind, the Supreme Spirit, or you get your downloads from something below. But here's the trippy thing about it, is you could get downloads from what's below that's the truth. So it's duality that we live in. See, it's all there, folks. The name of this song is Run for the Hills. And, today I listen I don't listen to music at all anymore, except when I'm with somebody who's listening to music. Or every now and then, I'll hear a song or I'll use it as a tool to bring the truth to what's being said.
The world is a vampire sent to drain.
The world is a vampire sent to drain. John chapter 6 verse 56, Bible Hub. Whoever eats my flesh and drinks my blood remains in me and I in him. So Jesus wants you, when you break bread and you drink that wine, you are metaphorically eating his flesh and blood. I'm sorry to tell you, folks, that's a vampire. Dictionary.com. Here it says a vampire is a bloodsucker. So if you're eating somebody else's blood, and you've been told in the Old Testament we're not to eat the animal blood. Well, if I'm telling you that those who are on the earth at very first, those that are the beast nations, Genesis 1:25 Bible Hub, these here, God makes the beasts of the field each according to their kinds, the livestock according to their kinds, and everything that crawls on the earth according to its kind. And God saw that it was good. This is evil right now being created. God saw that it was good. This God here is Elohim, plural of Eloah. It's something that is being used of something that is more supreme than it is. I mean, that's what I get from this. I'm just showing you information. That's what it's telling me. So, but beast here, they want you to believe that the beast and the livestock are the same. Okay, a beast, an animal, cattle from an unused root, properly a dumb beast. So I'm telling you that when the Supreme Source created this plane of existence and everything that moved upon the face of the earth, he created a bunch of millions and millions, 1/3 of the stars that were swept from the heaven. He created it, he tossed it down here, and then because the good and the evil are on this plane of existence. And the good and the evil that exists within the mind. There's nothing going on out there, folks. This is all a dream. Everything's a dream. When you go to sleep at night and your spirit leaves your body and you're in the dream world, that's the reality of life, the real life. A dream, when you go to sleep and you have a real dream. That is reality. This here is a false reality that was created on the 6th day of creation. Because when you add 25, 26, and 27, these three parables here all have to do with the 6th day of creation. So God made man in his own image. I've showed you this here a representation or a counterpart. Okay? It's an appearance. What it is, it's a vain show of yourself. Your appearance is a vain illustration. An illustration, this is why you have the word ill in it, because look, mankind on this plane of existence has been lying to us about everything. This is a spiritual war, and there's people that actually love the roller coaster ride. I've had quite a few people say to me that, well, what fun would life be if there wasn't ups and downs? And in a way, I have to step outside myself and say, well, I get that. Well, the whole purpose is for us to learn what's good and evil, because that's what we're here for. That's our flesh is. Why do you suppose they call astronauts, here you go, astronauts in space, images of astronauts in space? Why do you think astronauts wear the spacesuit here? Because this is a metaphor, folks, for our skin suit. Okay? Has nothing to do. They got not on the end because it's the pronunciation of the word. Because they're astronauts. You and I, those that are not trapped in this simulation, images of the Matrix. Everything is on a grid. This is what the world really is right here. We're a bunch of numbers and binary codes that's inside of a computer simulation that talks about the digital world. Now, I won't be able to play this whole thing for you, but I'm going to cut it up in pieces. Hold on. Okay, so this is Keanu Reeves, and he's entering the Matrix. And he's kind of confused a little bit. I can't play the sound or they'll cut it out, right? This is the construct. So this is Morpheus, all right? So then Keanu Reeves, they come together and he's talking and he's like, we can load anything from clothing, training simulations to training simulations. Okay? So Keanu Reeves asks,
right now, we're inside a computer program.
Truth bombs in Hollywood. He asks, what am I trying to teach you guys? I'm trying to teach you that we live in a false illusion. Tells us so in Genesis 1:25 or 26 and 27 here, because image is nothing more. You look at it like this. You are nothing more than that is coming off of the television set yourself. That's an image. That's what you are. Okay? And your image and everything has been digitally processed, put into the mind, a lower mind, which is the machine. So an image is an illusion. Right here, illusion. Okay, this is important. Why? Because the definition for illusion is a false impression on reality. Okay? An illusion is confusion, deception, delusion, fantasy, hallucination, an image. Oh. Microscopic or misconception, myth, pipe dream, the American dream. Okay, so now you know that an illusion is a false impression on reality, and that illusion is being created from this God that creates himself in an image that isn't real. Okay, that's what I'm sharing with you. Yes, this race that's being created on the sixth day of creation is a complete computer simulation. Okay, now here's the thing: they can procreate, they can eat, they can do everything that we do, all of it. The only thing that they can't do is get into the higher mind, because these are people that have already sold out to being images. Okay, these are people that have already attached to a program. No, you think I'm crazy, but hey, it is what it is. These that are creating God, the gods that created themselves in an image, are these right here.
Secret destroyers, secret destroyers, hold you up to the flames.
So now, because we're in this false reality, okay, the sky that's above us could be the very thing that our eyes work off of in this plane of existence. As I've said a few times now, this is something that's new to me myself that I'm just speaking out. I don't know where it came from, but I'm saying it, is that our eyes don't view the world as we see it from the outward world in. The world as we see it is being projected through the mind. Everything that's happening is the mind. The body is just a digital imprint of yourself, of your vain self. So now he just asks if we live in a simulation. And this is Morpheus's response.
Is it really so hard to believe? Your clothes are different, the plugs in your arms and head are gone.
Your clothes are different and the plugs in your arms are gone. Now, are we literally hooked up to a machine the way that they portray in this movie here when he comes out? No. Okay, I tell you, this computer requires Wi-Fi. Okay? Our brains as antennas receive information and take downloads. I don't know if any of you have seen this movie. It's called Johnny Mnemonic, and he is a courier. Okay, he takes information and he downloads it onto his brain. And I'm telling you that Hollywood is giving us truth bombs, and you just got to start to see it. So I'm going to mute it, but he's getting ready. So he's pulling out all of his equipment right now. He's getting it ready, and he's even got to put a mouthpiece down because of the information. This is why I told you when I took my download, it was like sticking my finger into a light socket. It wasn't pleasant feeling. But I am a very engaged spiritually person in this war that's taking place today between good and evil. Remember when I said to you guys, taking this download was like stirring up everything that I'd ever seen or learned in my life, all of it. It stirred up all of it. And now I had all these thoughts, and then all of this shit that didn't matter kind of just was gone, and this space was in my head again. It was open again. My brain became a sponge again because all the shit was flushed out, and I was left with nothing but the knowledge of what was needed through the course that I've lived the last 63 years. And I've only watched this movie one time, and it was freaking 30 years ago. So all of a sudden I start remembering this stuff because it's pertinent to and relevant to the information that I'm sharing with people. So he's getting all ready. Hold on. So this is the disc that he's going to take. This is an information they want this disc on his brain. Okay? Now this is disc going on the recording device. So now he's hooking everything up. He's putting it all together because he needs to wire everything up before he downloads it.
When the counter approaches 0, click on 3 frames off the TV.
I don't know if you heard that. Thought I had the. Give me a second. Well, that's all all of the volume that I have. So we're just gonna have to go with what we got.
Any 3. They'll meld with the data and I won't know what they are. Unless a download code.
So he gave him a safe, backing safe is what he told him. He doesn't know the information, so this is why he's needing this guy to do this stuff. So he's all getting ready to hook up. Now let me show you.
Get a hard copy. You fax one copy to your connection on the other side. When I get there, we feed in the code and download. Understand? Upload begins when you press here.
So that's what the whole thing is about. That's what I'm trying to tell you. That they're doing downloads, but they're showing you that that our minds are antennas. Okay, it's not the exact truth. You have to see what it is they're trying to tell you in this movie. Okay?
Hit me.
So he says, hit me. All right? This is what happens.
The access code.
So I tell you, all these movies that I watched in my lifetime, I have all this new information on what it is that they're trying to say in these movies. That didn't just all of a sudden one day show up with the truth, folks. This is all has to deal with the biblical war that's going on within our minds. There's no question about it. And it is what it is. And folks, that's what it felt like to me when it hit me. When I took this download or upload or whatever it was, it threw me down to the ground. I felt like I was being electrocuted. I was like a freaking flopping fish on a deck, man. So I don't care what anybody says anymore. It's just I want to give you the full realm to help you understand the spiritual thing that's going on. Because what we're seeing in this is an illusion. I'm telling you it is an illusion, a false impression on reality. And while we're here, let's go ahead and look at the word ghost, which is the spirit of the dead. Okay, if we're dead, then guess what? We're just walking images. We're walking dead. A ghost, folks, is a demon, a devil, a phantom, a shadow, a specter, vampire. The one that wants you to eat his flesh and drink his blood. Jesus, he wants you to eat his flesh and drink his blood. It's a vision. So John had visions. Do you guys remember John's vision? What am I looking at here? A vision. John's vision at Patmos. When I saw him, John says, I fell at his feet like a dead man. Why is John dead? Because when you're born into a world of sin, you're born into death. Atheists and Christians aren't giving you the deep, profound message that is necessary for you to understand what is being said. Because John is a dead man, and this is a vision. And a vision is a ghost. And a ghost is the spirit of the dead. That's why John is a dead man. But he placed his right hand on me and said, do not be afraid. I am the firstborn, Jesus Christ. Jesus is the firstborn, and I the last. The last supper. Jesus was the firstborn and the last supper. Or we could go here. Genesis chapter 1 verse 1 Bible Hub, since Jesus is the beginning. This is the beginning. In the beginning, God, Elohim. Hold on, is Jesus Elohim? Huh? Who are the Elohim? The Elohim are the fallen. Okay? The Elohim are the ones that made a pact against God and are being used from a supreme creator. Everything to the glory of this supreme creator. Okay? So now, when we come to Elohim, you see that it's got gods here and goddessly and great judges. That's a multiple. Ex mighty. Exceeding. Angels. Oh, I love this. Angels. Elohim are angels. It's these mutt faces here. These. Okay, I'm going to show you why it's these people here. Okay, I'm going to show you right now. Number 32, Strong's Concordance. Angels. Okay, this is why these people that are in power, they call themselves angels. So when you hear the word angels, this is what you think of. This is what we see. You hear the word angel, that's what comes to mind. This comes to mind. Our little babies, our little angels. Yeah, this is what comes to mind. Right here. So look at what I can't really see what that says because of the, it looks like is it magic? Inspiring magic. That's what it says. And actually what this is called indoctrination. Okay, this is sorcery. So when somebody says angels, this is what you think of. You don't think of this. Okay? Do you remember the movie that Tom Hanks made? Folks? Okay? What was it called? Demons and Angels. Demons and angels are the same because it's us that are demons and angels. We're the ones that we do good and we do bad. We make mistakes. We go through life. We try to correct ourselves. The important thing is to know that there is a war that is going on behind the scenes that is much darker than what we see. When you see angels, you think of this angel here, Michael, who's putting down the horn. Okay? What do the wings really represent of the angel? It just now came into my head. I just now saw it. And it's the same thing as the Caduceus. Hold on. So, what do the wings represent? What does the snake winding up, the serpent winding up? Okay, you got a serpent on the Caduceus, and you got wings at the top. What do the wings represent? See, the head here, the two heads, this represents duality, folks. Good and evil. Has nothing they are spookifying everything that they're teaching you. Has absolutely nothing to do with good and evil. And the wings here are the same representation as the wings on the angels that I just showed you. You see this? These are your wings. The higher mind is the wings. You see these here? These here are the horns and the cerebellum. I don't know if I finished my sentence here, but these were astronauts and we're astral travelers. I know that we said that we're astral travelers, but what you need to understand is that the skin suit here that we're born from the woman's womb, which is the matrix, okay, is the spaceship. Okay, we are the astral travelers. We've come here for war. We're in a war right now, a spiritual war. We're trying to wake everybody up because everybody is under a deep sleep. They're living in an illusion and nobody knows it. As soon as people start waking up to all the lies and realizing that, looking at the language and what I'm showing you guys and how I'm putting these pieces together, you can't deny it. Okay, so that's finished. Finished. Also here, so these people are the ones that are saying that they are divinely ordained. Okay? But they're all calling on something. They blame shift and scapegoat and, turn away from and have created a revised version of the Bible. Why do I say this? Here. Right here, Malachi 3:6. For I am the Lord. Now this Lord here is Yahweh, and I change not. Therefore ye sons of Jacob are not consumed. Where is Jacob? Seems like if this world's turned over to the hands of the wicked and there is an eternal hell, then two different planes, a higher mind and a lower mind, and well, actually there's even a lower mind. That's in the lowest part of the spinal column that sets into the coccyx, which is right at the hip, a joint that sets into the hip. And it says, therefore the sons of Jacob won't be consumed. So, but here's what I want you to keep wanting to remind people, that the Bible is a codex, and I'm learning this myself. I'm just starting to look a little bit deeper into this kind of stuff and looking at the parables. But here you have Malachi 3:6. Okay? 3:6, folks, is always a representation of 3 6s. Okay? And then you have the Lord here. So when we take the Lord there, who is it? It's Yahweh. Okay? You just can't type Yahweh into this and get the name Yahweh. Okay, but you can get God of Israel, because it takes wisdom. I told you I took a download. Okay, God of Israel is 666. So now this makes more sense when we look here, that when we talk about the angels as messengers from Angelo, El, Elo, Elohim, Elohai, Eloheka, Elonu, El Elyon, El Shaddai, angels, Michael, San Raphael, Gabriel, Azazel, all of the L's that are in the Elohim. The Elohim are the 200 high angels, the hierarchy of evil that had fallen and taught us war and taught us everything that's evil. They are the tree of knowledge of good and evil that Adam and Eve were said not to eat from. So a lot of questions, a lot of time is people say, well, if God is all omnipotent and all powerful and all knowing, why would he allow the serpent to come inside of the garden and eat from the tree of knowledge of good and evil? Why wouldn't he stop Satan from doing it? Because until that moment that they knew of good and evil, they didn't know it was good and evil. They didn't know that where they were at was a good place. They didn't know that it was the most beautiful place on the face of the earth, because they had no knowledge of good and evil of it. They had to eat from the tree in order to learn the knowledge. And at the same time, eating from the tree, I think today is more so of a metaphor. I had to leave for a minute, so I'm not quite sure where I left off, but here at Anglos, I'm going to go back here to bringing Brother Sanchez up. These are your angels, Ron. That's why you have Anglos. It's telling you, angel. Everything is an angel of God. Here's the thing, man. If God is completely 100% totally in control of everything, then guess what? Free will doesn't exist. And everything is just, God playing a game of chess by himself and, doing good, kind acts to probably those that do good and kind acts, and, killing people that want to go off to war and fight for a country over a lie that they're receiving from the political system. Politics, the Democratic, the Republic, all of that. This is, when you start looking at the etymology of words and how they come together, then you understand. So the angels are, look, especially an angel of God, of evil, Satan, a demon, a messenger. Okay? So they're all underneath the same angel and messenger. Do you see what I'm showing you? It's showing you angels and demons are one and the same. They're all underneath of one command. One commander playing a game of chess by himself, doing his own thing, not really caring one way or another. People ask all the time, man, why would God allow the evil to exist? Because we're being sent here for war against those fallen angels. Because those fallen angels, you got to understand something. They created some kind of trap in the flesh suit. So our purpose is those that are aware. I'm not part of the woke culture. I'm not part of the awakened culture. I am completely aware. I'm not part of any of that shit, man. So as understanding this is a spiritual war, then I know that my purpose here on this plane of existence is to try to make other people aware. And if you follow this information and you know it, it resonates with you, and you just know it is, then it's your responsibility as well to take on this information. It's your responsibility as well to share this information. It's your responsibility to learn this in your own head so you have it. This way, when any Christian thumper or anybody ever approaches you, knocks on your door, tries to sell you a bit, you can invite them in plainly and run them off with information. Because the minute you start talking about scriptures, guess what? Christians want to get the hell away from you. Why? They're the ones that wrote the book. It's the weirdest freaking thing in the world, man. They write the book. You start quoting their scriptures, and then they say, "Oh, you're twisting the scriptures up, man. You're. That's not what it means." That's not what it means, huh? Okay, whatever.